lining up. So it looks like Abasai probably going to go first here, and we're going to get to see Memento at its finest.
There we see him opening the Creation King in his opening hand, kind of flashing it to the camera. Not the best way to kind of start off your hand.
Well, you can always put it back, but it looks like we're going to start with the Dark Blade here. So not going to do anything in Resolvation. Going to try to destroy itself to special summon a level 3 Memento monster from the deck or lower.
I will activate this Chain Link 2, effect Veiler targeting Dark Blade.
Ooh, that is a harsh start there. Memento can't get locked up, so effect Veiler negating that.
Yes, it does not destroy for cost, notably.
Looks like we got that triple tactics talent at the ready. You wonder if he draws 2 cards or fleeces his opponent's hand in that forceful sentry-like effect.
Maybe he could be hoping to draw some kind of extender, like maybe a Bone Party or something, but we are going to see that talent come down. What's he going to call? It depends on what he already has in hand. He chose to reveal.
Hand. Oh, that's tough because the 2 copies there of the Sage with Eyes of Blue means you can only really put back the Wishes for Eyes of Blue. And even though you put it back, well, it could come right back out if the effect resolves and he's able to get Mane of White and True Light.
Yes, Abasai's going to go ahead and shuffle that back like you said, and now it's all a matter of how he goes from here. I'm not sure what spell card he has in his hand, but let's see. He's just going to set one and pass here.
It's pretty rough if you don't have any follow-up there on the Memento Dark Blade. You would have to have the Seahorse, right? Tatsuno Toshigo.
Normal summon Sage with Eyes of Blue. Effects on normal summon to add a level 1 Light Tuner.
All right, so gonna go ahead and normal summon, but oh, the Forbidden Droplet there. Gonna go ahead and get rid of the Dark Blade to negate it. Now this could be a little bit jumping the gun because Spirit with Eyes of Blue is probably not far behind. Oh, and Fuwalos too.
Yes,
wow.
I was gonna say, I feel like Abasai's making a really heads-up play here, going for that turn 1 pass into Droplet, getting rid of his board, because now he has Fua to kind of incentivize Aaron to not really do anything. But if Aaron just ended his turn there, would Abasai have anything besides Combined Creation in hand?
Yeah, that wouldn't go very far, but Aaron doesn't know that. As long as I keep my voice down, right?
Yes, of course. Of course, yeah.
But the Spirit with Eyes of Blue here is going to really turn the tables here because, of course, grabbing the Mausoleum of White and then doing everything that Blue Eyes does well from here.
Yeah, notably, Mausoleum of Light would give you an extra normal summon from the hand, which would not turn on Fuwalos, but it'd still give you the extra bodies you need to maybe keep playing.
And just nice to see Blue Eyes White Dragon again, you know, on the top tables again. Both of these duelists with undefeated records so far. And we haven't seen Blue Eyes do this well since the Blue Eyes World Championship, right, in 2016.
And here we see that Mausoleum coming down, going to be sending a Blue Eyes monster from the deck to the graveyard, going to be bumping up this Spirit of White.
Sending Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Now this is always telling too, you get to find out which art is the Blue Eyes duelist favorite, rocking out the classic one, but that is the quarter century reprint from the tins last year.
I'm going to put my money on Aaron playing different arts, because
really?
I personally love doing different arts whenever I can.
Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and...
No, it's not. It's
going to use the additional normal summon, yeah.
And the effect to add is not monster.
So Abasai just really surprised there again. The additional normal summon effect, Sage with Eyes of Blue's effect, does activate because it is not just once per turn. It's just once per that copy of him being normal summoned. And that makes sense too, right? So a normal summon card, who knew that it was going to ever be able to get out this easy? But there's True Light off the Maiden of White.
Yeah, that's going to be the main enabler for this archetype, is True Light.
It's such a good card. Sorry, the Dark Magician fan in me is jealous that Eternal Soul is just not quite as powerful as True Light is rocketed this deck up.
Yep, and here we see Aaron grabbing that Wishes, kind of making Abasai's turn 1 play of Talancing away that Wishes a bit not worth it now. But like you said, there was no way he could stop him from doing this.
Yeah, I mean, even if you only had 1 or 2 monsters, even the Droll and Lockbird could have made Spirit with Eyes of Blue.
Ooh, he's going to be sending his Droll and Lockbird here. So what's that unknown card in Aaron's hand he's valuing over the potential interaction?
Well, we'll have to see soon. I guess he feels like he's got his opponent on the ropes, but you do add a lot of cards in Memento, so this may backfire. But right now, for Wishes of Eyes of Blue, looks like he's grabbing an Effect Veiler and, Majesty of the White Dragons.
Majesty of the White Dragons in the main deck. Not always the thing you see in Blue Eyes, but a really powerful way to make your turn 1 boards even more powerful.
Eyes of Blue to special summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon from hand or graveyard.
All right, so we're going to use the effect of Spirit of Blue. Yeah, it's good. So tributing it to bring out our Blue Eyes. You're locked into Dragons there, but now that that's gone.
I don't think that'll be a problem for this deck.
Well, it's convenient since the Dragon Spirit of White is gone. Now you can bring out Maiden of White, who is a spellcaster.
Very true, very true.
Attack directly with the Blue Eyes.
Oh, not going to bring it out, though.
Going to go for a nice Neutron Blast, bring Abasai down to 5,000, and then probably end his turn with something like Blue Eye Spirit Dragon. Only give away 2 draws for Abasai, but have access to all the interaction he has in his hand, plus a potential Spirit Dragon to go into Ultimate Spirit Dragon.
Blue Eyes with a Blue Eyes White Dragon.
So banishing the Wishes for Eyes of Blue. This is so cool to be able to equip it. He is going to use the Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon there. Is going to give one Fualo's draw, probably for a Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon, I would say. But you also get the targeting protection of that Neo Blue Eyes in the grave now.
100%. Plus, you can turn off effects from the graveyard, too, which could be pretty nice against Memento.
So good to see Blue Eyes in high spirits. But not to be sold short. Opposite draws for turn. Let's see what Memento's got in the tank.
Yeah, we do know that Aaron drew another trap card for turn because he set an additional card and has the Veiler in hand that he searched off Sage. Obviously, Abasai is thinking about this and how to play through everything.
You can activate, negate an effect that activates.
Now, the Blue Eye Spirit Dragon seems powerful here, but it may not actually come into play as often because most of your Memento effects are happening on the field. It's a weird deck. It wants to destroy itself. However, it doesn't actually get effects usually for destroying cards in the graveyard. Oh, no!
Speaking of getting rid of effects on the field, there we see the Effect Veiler coming down, starting Darkblade once again, but we're going to be chaining Bone Party, going to be destroying our Darkblade probably with that.
Definitely a heads-up play there. Let's see if we have any interaction from Aaron. Oh, just double negation there, really trying to lock things down.
A Chain Link 4 Infinite Imperm to still make sure that Darkblade's effect does not go off. And so now Abasai is going to be able to still destroy the Darkblade using his Bone Party, but the monster he summons off Bone Party will not be destroyed, and thus might not be able to activate its effects. And there we see Anguish coming down.
So Anguish for the search there, still not doing too bad. Seems like we burned a lot of resources there on Aaron's side, so this might be the one opening that Abasai has, grabbing the Meventotlin Tatsuno Toshigo. Good old seahorse.
Now, I believe it's an ignition effect for Tatsuno Toshigo, correct? So like, it needs to be on the field already.
Correct. And most of the Memento cards are ignition effects, except for the trigger effect of Darkblade when it's normal summoned. Few exceptions here and there, like Gaddock. Oh, but they're sleepy.
Going to be activating its effect to either to summon itself, I believe.
And then it might just go right into the fusion here. And depending on if there are any other Memento cards in the hand, we might see a Twin Dragon. We might see the Creation King.
Chain Link 2, I will activate Blue Eye Spirit Dragon, contributing it to special a Light Dragon Synchro monster from my
So using the Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon there to swap out. Could be a great opening to bring out Blue Eyes Ultimate Spirit Dragon.
Yep, there it is. The ultimate boss monster from the Blue Eyes White Destiny structure deck. 3,500 attack, 4,000 defense, and essentially a negate for any card on the field once per turn.
It's crazy. And it gets an 1,000 attack boost for that too. So it gets that legendary 4,500 attack that ultimate Blue Eyes monsters are known for.
I will activate Ultimate Spirit Dragon's effect to negate the effect of Twin Dragon.
Yep, so Twin Dragon has been negated due to Ultimate Spirit, and that just leaves the Tatsuno Toshigo in Abasai's hand.
Reveal the special? Yes.
He's going to special and then...
On resolution.
Ooh, we've got something on resolution.
I will activate Majesty of the White Dragons.
Oh, wow.
Blue Eyes White Dragon in my graveyard.
Yeah, this is why I was asking about that ignition effect. Because Aaron has that Majesty face down, he can destroy the Tatsuno before it activates its effect, and therefore doesn't get the free dump of all the Memento monsters that Abasai was hoping for.
Now, you and Aaron are both looking far into the future, and it paid off because Abasai, again, is locked out of his Memento plays. So, take a look at the graveyard. Lots of Memento names there.
Is it enough to summon the Mind Creation, or does he only have 4 unique ones because he has 2 Darkblades?
That's correct. Let's see. So there's... You would have to somehow get rid of the Twin Dragon, but there's not really a good way to do that right now.
Yeah, I don't think there's any Link 1s that require a level 7 light.
Very specific. Give it time. There's plenty of Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading cards to come out, but right now Abasai does seem to be kind of locked up here.
When he's destroyed by battle or card effects, he can activate the graveyard to special a Light Dragon in my graveyard.
Yeah, so Aaron's just explaining here that at the end of the turn, when this Blue Eyes Ultimate goes away due to the original Spirit Dragon's effect, it can float back into Spirit Dragon. Or like really any light, I should say.
And the duelists are still going.
Yeah, I think Abasai was, like you said, just one name away from just getting Combined Creation out, which would have been an amazing house to just attack over the Blue Eyes Ultimate Spirit Dragon. It's
if
strong
only.
enough.
I mean, 5,000.
Oh, wait, here we go.
Yeah, okay, so we got...
He has the names, or does he not?
He's counting, so we got Sleepy, Anguish, Tatsuno Toshigo, Darkblade.
And another
he
Darkblade.
Doesn't have it. Yeah, the Darkblade double.
Unfortunately, he's one name short. If it was Gaddock, if it was Goblin, if it was Akihiron, all those would have been enough.
Plenty of names out there probably still in the deck. Unfortunately, we weren't able to keep the combos going because really the deck starts. There's so many starters. Darkblade, great starter. Anguish, great starter. But if they're getting negated like this, nothing much is happening.
Yeah, I think our duelists have entered the grind game, and as Blue Eyes loves being in the grind game with a True Light face up, I feel like this might be all she wrote. But Abasai's just going through all of his options here before he has to pass turn here. Always worth taking your time and making sure, is there anything I could do from this board texture?
Well, you don't want to burn too much time. It is a competition, so you do have to keep a reasonable pace of play.
Ooh.
Oh, but wow, that's a way to get another Memento name to the graveyard.
That is 1000%.
A lot of people argue about whether or not Typhon is worth using, right? Because it's a card that's usually your backup game plan. But in this, it's exactly the card he needs, able to remove that material and get that 5th name to the graveyard.
So we went to battle phase there and unfortunately attacked with the Typhon into the 4000 defense Ultimate Spirit Dragon and took some damage there. I think Abasai was thinking that the Spirit Dragon has less defense than it does.
No, it is a big monster, that is for sure.
It's a chunky boy. It is worth noting that we have the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon in the graveyard, but we're going to bounce the trap card back to hand. Unfortunately, that does not destroy our monsters because it needs to be sent to the graveyard.
It's a mistake many duelists make because of that. Oh, and it looks like he can only target, yeah.
Yeah, Typhon doesn't target. It can still affect that card.
Yeah.
So we're going to put that back. Great. Wonderful.
Okay. Could I shuffle the deck?
They're just getting everything straightened out there, but it is true. It's a gigantic monster, but now it's back in the extra deck, but it only means it can be reused again.
That's true. And we have plenty of Blue-Eyed Spirit Dragons probably in our extra deck to summon it back out.
So the interesting thing is here, we did get the 5th name to the graveyard, but the only thing that could be special summoned with Combined Creations effect then would be an extra copy of Darkblade, and that's not necessarily going to help unless he uses the on-summon effect in order to destroy a spell or trap. So he might be able to use it to get rid of True Light, but that's a lot of setup, and he doesn't seem to have any hand.
And obviously, Aaron, like I said earlier, still has that True Light, would still get some Blue Eyes, still get some Maiden of White, but he's not going to be activating the effect, it looks like, and just going to go straight into his standby phase.
Well, taking a look at the graveyard here.
Main phase. Main phase, I'll activate True Light to special summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon from hand or graveyard.
You're right that it's interesting he didn't do that on the last thing. He might want to just wanted to wait, maybe not hurry up too much, but with no cards in the hand, there wasn't too much risk there. We do have a small update, though. There was a procedural error minor to Abasai, of course, for using the Typhon to try to bounce the trap card. So you know that is not one of the options you can do with Typhon.
Only monsters.
And chain 2, Maiden of White to special summon a level 1 Light Tuner or a Blue Eyes.
Ooh, very heads up play from Aaron here. He's using his own Mausoleum of White to trigger his Maiden of White's targeting effect to summon another monster to the field.
Gonna be summon Sage with Eyes of Blue.
And it's crazy that that doesn't even target, too. You just get to bring it out, whatever it is you end up needing.
100%. And now we're going to use that again to search for...
You were right, by the way. Multiple arts.
Yes, that's a true Blue Eyes fan right there. Showcasing all the really cool ways this card comes out. That's the original Legends of Blue Eyes artwork right there.
So I guess Aaron's answered the question, what's your favorite artwork for Blue Eyes White Dragon?
All of them.
Blue Eyes, all of them. No Blue Eyes is bad.
At least 3. There's at least 3 of them, as we know.
Could be a 4th one, but Grandpa might need some tape for that.
I mean, I've never seen more than 3 Blue Eyes ever exist. Have you?
I've never.
Yeah.
Not once. If you've got a Blue Eyes White Dragon, you must be one of the greats. Watch out, Seto Kaiba is coming your way. But jokes aside, looks like Aaron is trying to figure out what he wants to do next.
It is worth noting that normally Typhon's really good against 3,000 attack monsters because he turns off all their effects. But jokes on Abasai, Blue Eyes doesn't have any effects anyway.
Oh, goodness. I mean, a powerful monster, you're right, but power that high can't have an effect. That'd be crazy to have a 3,000 attack monster with an effect.
How about having 2 with no effects?
Oh, here we go.
Since we go to battle phase.
This is definitely enough damage for Aaron to win this turn.
Blue Eyes for 3,000.
That's 100 damage.
I think he might have 3,900, so he may be holding on.
Oh, I see.
So he's got just enough for a premature burial to pay 8 and feel great.
Yes. Going to be going into another level 9 Synchro, it looks like.
And this could kind of clinch it down here. Looks like we're going to another Blue Eye Spirit Dragon. No cards at all for Abasai, so it's all about whatever he draws next.
All right, we're going back to Abasai's turn, and as we know, his graveyard is now full of Memento names, and I think he just drew, what was that, another Anguish for turn?
I think it was a Sleepy. If it was an Anguish, that would have been crazy, but that little splash.
Abasai and Aaron here. My assumption, again, is that Abasai's going to choose to go first. Let's see how he opens up.
Well, I'm seeing a lot of green. I think I do see a little jailbreak there. as well as Memento Fusion, I think a Triple Tactics Talent, which will help him out quite a bit.
But just a Gaddock, that's probably not the normal summon you want to start with in this deck.
No, it is not.
But we do have a Bone Party there, which could enable Gaddock to do some stuff later, but also just get us into other cards.
Well, it depends on what Aaron has. Takes a look at his hand, but goes ahead and just gives the nod. So we are going into the deck. And I wonder if he goes straight into the Anguish out of precaution, or if he's brave enough to do the Dark Blade. Looks like he's going to Anguish. No slight there, but he's just playing cautious so that if its effect gets negated, at least he's got something.
Plus, I think he does have that Grand Breakout in hand, so worst comes to worst, he can always get a normal summon of Goblin later since he's conserved his normal summon up to this point.
That is true.
So there we see the Sleepy, like you said, going to be coming to his hand right now. Going to go straight into a Twin Dragon, maybe?
Okay.
Think so. Yep, it's fusion time.
There we see Sleepy, and hopefully we'll see the Memento Twin Dragon that we saw in Game 1, but actually resolve this time.
Twin Dragon approaches the field. Abasai asking Aaron the age-old question. And apparently we are going to resolve. All right.
Going to be adding 2 more names to our hand, and at this point, I feel like the Memento engine is up and running.
Feels like it's on full cylinders. The only thing that could scare you now would be a Nibiru, the Primal Being.
So there we see the Sleepy coming back, and I believe we added Combined Creation and Tatsuno Toshigo to our hand. That can just let us keep going, but having the Gaddock already gone kind of makes Tatsuno a little bit worse because you don't get the free summon back off of it. The best you could probably send is like Goblin, or maybe just send Achihiron itself by itself because it is level 5, I believe.
Yes.
It looks like we'll find out soon, but you're right that the options are limited, especially when you get this far into the combo and then the Seahorse shows up, right? Because, oh, but it looks like instead...
Oh, we're going to go straight into a Link summon here? Question mark?
Maybe?
Well, imagine using Tatsuno Toshigo just as a free summon. We're going to go into the...
Oh, wow. Moon of the Closed Heaven.
So we are playing maybe a little bit of a Fiendsmith engine in this deck. Oh, very cool. Going to be going into Requiem here. We've seen this before. Going to use the effect to go into Engraver, go into Lacrima. What are we going into?
This was completely hidden last duel, so I wonder if this is a big surprise to Aaron.
I wonder how big of a package it is that he's playing, because we didn't see it at all in Game 1.
Yeah. But the full combo is going. I mean, are we just going to make Necro Equip Princess in order to activate card effects from the hand and then draw extra cards?
That is true. A lot of the Mementos do activate in hand, so you can get like a free +1 off this while unlocking a rank 6 play like Caesar.
Ah, it looks like we are going to go ahead and do that.
You said the only thing he was afraid of was Nib, and this is an amazing engine to play around Nib. You're just going to Caesar, but... Aaron knows that too, and he's like, well, I'm going to have to drop the rock now. And there we see the boy coming down, tributing all face-up cards in the field, and then summoning down, giving a token over the opponent. That token will be a nice, I think, 3,800 attack. No, sorry, 3,800 defense, 4,400 attack.
Comet cometh. There's only 2 ways to play, right? They have Nibiru, they don't play Nibiru. Ooh, now this is a very difficult question. Do you get rid of the Maiden of White or the Primite Dragon Etherbarrel? There's so much advantage from Primite Dragon Etherbarrel. But at the same time, save for Maiden of White, so it looks like that's the one going away.
Yeah, because Maiden of Light gets you True Light, and True Light gets you every blue-eyes card.
Everything. Oh my goodness. So, looks like Abasai off to a stronger start, even though his field is, well, just a token right now.
Yeah, but now Abasai has the complete confidence that he has full unfettered continuation. We saw Fusion in his hand. I think he still has not used his normal summon yet if he gets access to any more Memento names in his hand. And I believe he has that Combined Creation technically online right now if he wanted to.
Certainly could, but I think he might want to stack the graveyard just a little bit more with the Creation King. Let's find out as he activates the Fusion spell here.
He's going to be Fusion summoning from cards in his graveyard, it looks like. Going to be using Gaddock. Talk about a retrain. Goes from the attic, now turning into Memento Tolan Gaddock. Then we're going to go Tatsuno Toshigo, and we're going to be fusing with the Combined Creation from hand.
Very cool. Getting that almost feels like a free fusion material, right? Because now that the Tekutlika is in the graveyard, it's so easy to just go ahead and shuffle those monsters back. And now that we have the Creation King, it's easy to load up the graveyard. And it's so well that it's sent from the extra deck, including itself. What a card.
So good. Reminds me of some of the old Lunalite cards that got to send from the extra deck too, and just how much advantage those created.
Yes.
Yep, so there we're going to be using the Gaddock that we just put back into our deck to summon back out.
Mental card? Yes.
And there's the Achihiron we were thinking about too.
It's always just nice having that in the grave as another thing you could summon during your opponent's turn potentially, which is nice.
I feel like the only Memento we haven't seen yet might be the Memento Trihorn Dragon. Not every duelist runs it, so that's fine. Or Mace. Oh, you're right, Mace. Or Goblin, actually. Okay, so there are still a few Memento names.
There are so many Memento cards, and they're all really fun and can just make the deck so much more powerful the more of them you play.
Definitely some. Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
I was going to say, but like we said earlier, the more you play, sometimes the less consistent you'll be because they don't all achieve the same kind of goals.
It's a weird deck. Like, it's really nebulous to try to figure out, like, what is he doing? He's just destroying his own cards. And then you just see the advantage that this puts out. As long as you don't interrupt it, it keeps on stacking cards onto the field.
Yep, and there we see the field spell Memento Mictlan, which is going to be like sort of the main topper for this archetype here. I think he's debating using the fusion again from the graveyard effect of it, I should say.
Yeah, I think he's going to banish a destroy, so goodbye, Creation King. And let's see what we say hello to.
Just going to be adding back a fusion, so we have one for potentially next turn or during our opponent's turn.
No, we've seen some crazy stuff cooked up with Memento decks in terms of fusions because Memento Fusion is such a strong card. I've seen even people pull out like El Shaddai Window with it, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah, because they're all different types as well, right? Like, they all have all these different kinds of ways to summon anything you want. I think the coolest one's probably going to be Guardian Chimera. That's always the biggest culprit of like a quick play fusion spell.
Oh, definitely. Being able to destroy maybe 1 or 2 cards from the field, draw 1 or 2 cards. And speaking of which,
there's that Grand Breakout we were talking about. Going to be unlocking the last Memento name we haven't seen yet. Goblin, or maybe getting a regular Goblin biker card. Who knows if he has that in his deck? We don't know.
I was thinking about tributing that token, but the token's still got a lot of stats on it, so you may not want to get rid of that. So goodbye, Gaddock, and hello, Goblins.
I can't believe you were able to read that Aaron was like, Nibiru's all he needs here, but then Abbassai's like, you know what, I think he might have Nibiru. Let me force him to use it.
It just really, like, it shows you what that Fiendsmith Engraver did. It sort of forced the opponent into a situation where they had to do it. You forced your opponent to play their best card, and that's exactly what you wanted, so you could play your even better cards.
100%. And it's looking like we're going to be sending the Achi-Huron here and the Mace. There's the other name we were talking about. The whole stacked grave of Memento is here.
And if we get the combined creation on the field, being able to add, you know, I guess the best way to do it would be with the Anguish from the graveyard, special summon, and then you could add either Goblin in order to prevent targeting, or you could add Mace from the hand. Being able to do Change of Heart as a quick play is insane.
Yeah, being able to steal your opponent's monsters during their own turn is wild. And and we know Aaron's hand is just Aether Barrel pretty much at this point, and Abassai's like, I can handle that. And there we see a Mega Link summon, it looks like, into Fiendsmith Sequence. Going to be turning on, I believe, some more cards from that part of our deck.
Interesting that they're able to go back and forth. Certainly, fusions are in this deck, so we're returning the Sleepy and the Moon of the Closed Tevin there.
To make Big Wing, no, is that Big Wing Baphomet?
I believe so.
No, that's...
oh, it's Baphomet, the Mythical King of Phantom Beasts.
Yes, thank you. And that's a dump from Grave for Beasts or for Fiends, which is, again, very helpful.
These 2 monsters?
So many different combinations of cards in this deck. We were just talking about how El Shaddai Window was a weird thing you bring out. That's just as interesting. Very creative.
Yeah, Fiendsmith Sequence can summon all kinds of Fiend fusion monsters, which Baphomet, the King of Mythical Beasts, is.
All right, so I did see that Guardian Chimera at the top of the extra deck there, so we may get to see that too, but it looks like we've got an SP Little Knight here.
Very exciting. These are some really fun cards coming out of Abassai here. Just unlocking his board even more and more.
Interesting. I think the SP Little Knight banished the Creation King there, possibly to set up against Called by the Grave.
Yeah, maybe stop it from doing other things, because we know that's in Aaron's hand. And there we see the Creation King coming down.
Shuffle 5 back.
Get back that Twin Dragon.
The resource loop is just absolutely incredible. It's one of these decks where it's a joy to play it because you're never done.
100%, yeah. Like, all those cards he dumped into his deck, he put them back into his deck so he can dump them again on his next turn.
The loop continues, but now it's Aaron's turn to play. He does have that Primite Dragon Ether Barrel, but looks like... Gonna take a look at the graveyard real fast.
I'd say the most important thing in there is that he has an Engraver for the next turn to put back his own Requiem. He has the Mace that we know about in hand, I believe, still. I don't think we know either of these set cards if we're Aaron. No, Fusion. We know Fusion.
Ether Barrel effect to set a Primite spell or trap from deck.
So is there a Cranium Burst hiding?
Could be. That'd be really sweet to see.
Surprise, Appaloosa, Bow of the Goddess.
Just at the trap card now, even harder to interact with.
Creation's effect to special summon.
Oh, he's going to use it to special summon Sleepy.
Does that target? Yes. Which one are you targeting? Targeting Sleepy.
All right, yep. Like you said, targeting Sleepy to summon back.
So again, for those at home who don't have Memento, oh wow! So whenever you activate a monster effect, I believe the combined creation can go ahead and special summon a Memento from your graveyard, but Called by the Grave will still get it done. We're going to go ahead and banish. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so I was going to say, like, Riverman can actually summon another beast from the graveyard, so you can just chain to Call by the Grave to now bring out the Sleepy and dodge the Call by the Grave.
That's so smart.
I've been playing a little bit of Chimera back in the day on Master Duel, and that was always a really fun play to do.
That's definitely a very good, strong deck there.
I'm sorry, he summons from Banish. Regular Chimera summons from Grave.
Oh, I see. Very perfect then. So we did lose the Sleepy, but we ended up getting the Creation King back onto the field.
Is Creation King a fiend?
I think so.
Wow. He might be able to summon anything, but I could be wrong. There we see Primite Lordly Load coming down from the barrel, going to be immediately activating it to search for, hopefully, Primite Drill Beam. But here we're going to activate Creation King's effect to probably destroy the Primite Lordly Load and not be able to activate its effect.
We go ahead and target Mementos on either side of the field.
Oh, monsters, sorry. Monsters specifically.
Monsters I control or cards I control?
Cards you control.
It's cards he controls. Uh-oh.
Right, he destroys his own monster to destroy his opponent's cards.
That's right.
Okay, cool.
Pop in, pop out.
But it shows you how versatile Creation King is. So obviously, you want to destroy your own Memento cards, and Memento Mictlan has that effect that you can target one of those destroyed cards and then special summon one with a lower level. That can be huge. And when you've got the Creation King, almost everything in the deck is a lower level.
And we got Akihiron coming back too because Creation King was destroyed. And now that because Lord is a continuous spell and it gets destroyed, it won't be able to resolve its effect.
Well, Aaron's still not throwing in the towel yet. He's one game up, so he doesn't have too much to fear. Going to go ahead and swap out into a Link summon here of Spirit with Eyes of Blue.
Yeah, we still don't know the card that Aaron drew for turn. It could be a way for him to keep extending into his Blue Eyes plays, but here we just see him going for Spirit, activating the effect on summon to search for Mausoleum.
Deck by popping a card on the
Interesting. So we're going to go ahead and use Memento Bone Party.
Yep, that was the other card that Apsai had in hand. He's going to be destroying his Akihiron and summoning out Anguish from the deck.
So you got to wonder if he's going to go search for Mace from the deck in order to steal the Spirit with Eyes of Blue before anything happens here.
He could also, because I think he already has Mace in hand, he could just search for follow-up for the next turn, too.
Oh, that is true, true. Or you could do anti-targeting with the Goblin.
Yeah, I was going to say, you could actually protect your Anguish.
This deck just has so many things to do in it. Like, at any moment, you could just do a million different things. So.
100%. So here we have Akihiron adding back the Sleepy from the Banish pile, and here we have the Mace searching the deck. I think Goblin could be a really good one here, like you said. We already have follow-up in the form of Sleepy, but there we see Tatsuno Toshigo coming back out to the hand.
Yeah, so full follow-up, you were absolutely right. He is valuing the next turn, thinks he's going to survive this. And it's true that Aaron only really has Nibiru, the Primal Being, and the Spirit with Eyes of Blue for now.
We do potentially have an additional normal summon here from Aaron. If we drew something like Sage, that could be super huge right here.
Anything on Resolution? Or as Chain 2?
All right, so I think we are going to go ahead and flip over. You think this is the Guardian Chimera? He's taking a look at his hands.
He has
He's
definitely
about
enough
to flip
material
the
to do
fusion,
it.
yeah.
And this field spell represents a lot of advantage for Aaron, and at the very least represents a Blue Eyes White Dragon that he could get back with Spirit.
But he did discard the Mace, so he is going to take the Spirit with Eyes of Blue.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it achieves the same thing, but it gets rid of less resources from Apasai's end.
Oh, now it's fusion time.
Okay.
Going to be fusing the Sleepy, his opponent's Spirit Dragon, and his own Anguish. This is probably going to go into the Guardian Chimera. There we see it. First we saw Berfermen, now we see Chimera.
Destroy one, draw two. This is Yugi versus Kaiba, just in a very unusual way to get there.
To increase Nibiru's attack points by 800.
Guardian Chimera to pop 2 and draw 1.
Yes.
Yep, and now there's no Mausoleum of White additional normal, and there's no Nibiru in play. I don't know how Aaron can extend from here.
Jet Dragon activates in hand. Since I
Oh,
have,
that's
Blue
one
Eyes
way
White
to do
Dragon
it.
Graveyard.
Blue Eyes
That
Jet
is
Dragon.
true.
So a lot of duelists have been cutting this from their deck because sometimes it doesn't get stuff done, but with a lot of destruction decks still in the format, not just Memento, you can do Fire King. This is a really heads-up way to basically
Jet
get
Dragon,
more bounce to the ounce.
Attack on SP Little Knight and
I think it's just a clarification here on how Jet Dragon was summoned.
It would be from the hand.
Yep, and now we're in battle phase here. Going to be declaring an attack on SP Little Knight, and then in the damage step, we can choose to bounce a card back to the opponent's hand if we so wish. But I think they're just getting a clarification on how Jet Dragon hit the board. To my knowledge, it was properly summoned, right?
Yeah, it's a weird card, but it just, whenever cards are destroyed,
which I believe Chimera does destroy.
It does destroy, and when you have Blue Eyes White Dragon, but you know, it could be a miss the timing issue. Maybe that's
is it a
worth
win?
checking. It might be. Let me take a quick look on Yu-Gi-Oh! Neuron.
Let's see, because Chimera resolves on a new chain as it's summoned. Nibiru was already given the attack points from Mausoleum, but because he draws a card as well, is that maybe what it is?
Well, but Jet Dragon is if a card on the
Yes,
field is destroyed, so
okay.
it should be okay.
Yeah, I would
And
say
it looks like it is. It's just making sure everything is above board.
Yep, and so here I think we see the attack resolving because he's trying to put the Guardian Chimera back. Or was Guardian Chimera able to activate its ability? Because it was summoned off a spell card, so of course, right?
Yeah, it should be.
I know sometimes if you summon it off like a monster effect, for example, back in the Predaplant days, it wouldn't get to activate. But we're not doing that. We're doing that with fusion spells, so I think we're fine.
I would assume so, but we'll get an update here from our judges shortly if it ends up going into anything weird. But if not, play will just continue. Still plenty of time on the clock, and of course our players will get a time extension if there is a ruling issue.
Yeah, and this is a super heads-up play from Aaron. Like you said, this Jet Dragon is not only a really good way to answer destruction effects, but it's a really good way for outing problematic boards. It's one of the few cards that by itself can just answer a Rizal Detonator because it activates in the damage step and it bounces, it does not destroy.
Mm-hmm. We're taking just a quick moment here.
Just making sure. I don't know what our judges are reviewing at the moment, but I imagine they're just trying to get a clarification on where the game should go. I don't personally notice any mistakes here yet, but obviously I'm not over there. I don't see everything they see. Looking through the extra deck, maybe a question as to what legal targets he had available to himself for fusion summoning.
Possibly, but I mean, everything seemed right so far, so it's interesting to see like where this may be going. But imagine if things do continue from here. I mean, the Blue Eyes Jet Dragon attacking the SP Little Knight, certainly a chunk of damage, and you're right, you can go ahead and bounce that. Of the two cards, which would you bounce back? Would you try to risk putting back?
Oh, it looks like we are going to be rewinding the game state, actually.
Okay.
Going to be going back to before the Guardian Chimera was summoned. So my assumption is...
The Chimera was illegal because Spirit with Eyes of Blue is on the field.
You can't summon
dragons. He took the
dragons.
wrong monster because it's locked into Dragon, so it's a full illegal activation.
100%.
Chat, if you were yelling at me, I know I missed it too.
It's because it wasn't on the field right now, but our judges are so smart. They remembered that Sage with Eyes of Blue does say, as long as it's on the field, you are locked into Dragon monsters only. It doesn't matter if you summoned it yourself. If it's on your field, you're locked into Dragons. We've actually seen Blue Eyes players play things like Fallen of Albaz to be able to use it for themselves so they can go into Sanctifier Dragon and then give their opponents a Spirit and then lock them into Dragons only. Turns out Aaron didn't know about that either.
Yeah, and that is really unfortunate because it does mean that if Abasai ended up picking the Nibiru, the Primal Being, instead, he would have been able to pull off the exact same play and then use the effect of the Chimera in order to clear that. But it's just one of those things. I mean, this is, again, a very wide open format. You can't study every single card. You try your best, but here we are.
Oh, and talking about situations that, like,
what
never
a weird
happen.
one.
You know,
Yeah.
how often does Mace be used against Spirit of Azure Blue, right?
Well, that
Now,
definitely gives you something to cheer for if you're a Blue Eyes fan. Aaron may be getting a second wind here.
but weirdly, it might be worse for Aaron here because now he has no way to summon Jet Dragon, and thus
That's
there's no way for him to
true.
out this board anymore. And so Aaron probably would have preferred that he got to summon that Chimera funny enough.
Now, I mean, the Nibiru, the Primal Being, technically could just attack the SP Little Knight just the same, but it's not going to feel the same as bouncing the combined creation with a low graveyard count.
Yeah, and when you're staring down a 5,000 attack point monster, that could be pretty scary.
Yeah, it can. All right, so it looks like we're going in. So we are going to use Mausoleum of White in order to send a Blue Eyes White Dragon to power that Nibiru, the Primal Being, up to a whopping 3,800.
Anything on resolution?
And what's interesting is we still could see Jet Dragon because a card may be destroyed shortly on the field.
That is true.
Nibiru will attack SP Little Knight.
So we are still going to battle phase,
38.
and like you said, we're going to have 38 attack 16. That'll deal 2,200 damage over to Abasai, bringing him down to 58.
So you'll be at 68 or 58?
Like I mentioned, weirdly, this might be a better outcome for Abasai because he even knew that Aaron had access to that Jet Dragon that he saw earlier.
Since a card was
But he gets the Jet Dragon now because a card was destroyed on the field.
And we get to stay in the battle phase here. And you know what? We could actually know what I like completely. This is so much better for Aaron now because you can have Jet Dragon attack the Anguish and then bounce the combined creation.
While I have a Blue Eyes White Dragon and Field or Graveyard.
And it definitely gets rid of it without any worry from the Memento fusion because, again, unless there's a dragon in that extra deck, we are not fusing at all.
I mean, there is Twin Dragon,
There is Twin Dragon,
but that's
true.
probably not good enough because I don't know because you can't summon that with Sage. Sorry, with Spirit. So
True.
it wouldn't solve his immediate problem.
Activate Jet Dragon's effect to
All right, so we are going to go ahead and bounce some cards here.
Yeah, but I believe our attack target is Anguish, and we're going to be bouncing back the combined creation to Abasai's hand. And here we go. Aaron has done a successful job of outing Abasai's board, albeit maybe with some assistance from Abasai and his own mace.
So I took a look at Neuron, and a surprise to me, it is a dragon in name only. The Memento Twin Dragon's a thunder monster.
Wait, really? Oh,
Yeah.
it's based on the
Thunder
original
Twin
Thunder Twin
Dragon,
Dragon.
yeah.
They're not dragons, they're thunders. You're totally right.
Yeah, sorry, Mokuba. But wow, just what an interesting turn of events. It shows you that it is a wide open dueling field with some very interesting interactions here. And speaking of which, we're going to bring out SP Little Knight, and he's going to get his Spirit with Eyes of Blue back.
Yeah, because mace is only until end of turn, right?
Mm-hmm. A very change of hardy card there.
I always forget. I've never actually resolved Spirit with Eyes of Blue, but is it a quick effect?
No, it's you only are going to be able to attribute that as an ignition effect, I believe. So
he can't get a Blue Eyes for Dragon during his opponent's turn.
yeah, could you imagine just being able to bring out a Blue Eyes on call? Now, there are a lot of cards that do that, but they aren't in the extra deck.
Is Fusion main phase only? Or is it?
This is the end phase.
Interface, okay.
So still the end phase, going to go infused now.
Right, because after the Blue Eyes passes over, there is still priority to be had with any effects, and Abasai's just choosing to activate this.
But we are not going to be able to bring out the Guardian Chimera because there's no monsters on the field.
Yeah, and I believe Memento is main phase only. They just clarified that.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so just a little bit of a duel that kind of, we had to work out the kinks, but I think we're back to legal now.
Yeah, Abasai's maybe feeling that time pressure maybe because of how long that one turn
Yeah,
went.
it is 10 minutes left on the clock here, and only 5,800 life points left to his name, at least for this duel. So it's not necessarily like a losing match right here. He could still bring it back, but he has to consider that next game as well.
He still has all of his resources available to him, but now he needs to fight through an SP and a potential of another Spirit Jet Dragon coming back out because it'll activate whenever stuff is destroyed.
Absolutely there. And with so many pieces of engine in there, we talked about it earlier how Memento doesn't have a lot of room for non-engine cards. I haven't seen a lot of Memento Bestial builds, and you just don't have the room for it, but they sure would feel real good right now.
Yep, but we got that Engraver coming back here on activation of Requiem to equip. We're going to use SP Little Knight, banishing our own Spirit and targeting the Fiendsmith Engraver.
So we are going to be issuing a procedural error minor to Abasai, of course, for activating the fusion in the wrong phase. If you're not familiar with the tournament policy guidelines, it only is a warning, so there's not going to be any game loss penalties here, as long as it's not a repetitive mistake, and that's always up to the head judge's discretion anyway.
Abasai's debating if he wants to chain, I believe, this fusion to kind of dodge this SP banish.
Seems like we're doing it. So maybe a Guardian Chimera, but a different order here. So 2 from the hand, 1 from the field.
And because SP's already used its effect, it's not going to be able to dodge this destruction.
The SP resolve for that effect, I believe. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, SP needs to banish both cards.
Chainlink one was
Those targets.
targeting Engraver.
So Chimera effect to pop 1 and draw 2?
Yes.
Going to be popping 1 and drawing 2 cards. That's really awesome.
That feels pretty
During
good.
Abasai's turn.
Infinite permanence and didn't quite catch the last
I think it was a Goblin.
one.
I think it was Goblin.
Might be Darkblade, but still feels good for sure.
There we see the destruction of Muslim and White. We're going to be activating Blue Eyes Jet Dragon in the grave to summon back because the card was destroyed, but we have Blue Eyes in the grave. This is what Blue Eyes is great at doing. Grind game. All of its stuff repeats every single time.
Jet Dragon definitely is a long haul card. I certainly understand why duelists have been cutting it from their deck because it's hard to get it out, but once it's out, it gets a lot of mileage.
It's hard to go away. Also, there's a lot of Bestials in the format too, and so a card like Jet Dragon, once it goes to the grave once, it's never coming back.
That's true.
But against this deck, like you said, ain't no Bestials around, it looks like.
We will see if Aaron is able to squeak out of this duel, how far he continues to go in the tournament, because again, there are a lot of Bestials in this format.
And like we saw, I think Abasai's choice to go for a lot of follow-up during Aaron's turn is going to be really paying off dividends here.
I will activate Droll and Lockbird.
Oh,
Ooh.
and the card that Aaron drew for turn that we did not know about was Droll and Lockbird, which now will shut off all of Aaron's ways to keep adding cards to his hand. So even though he put back the Twin Dragon, it won't do anything. He's probably just going to go ahead and try to go for that combined creation here and get some damage through.
You're going to have to at some point, but it is difficult because that Jet Dragon could get recycled and recycled and recycled.
Does Jet Dragon need to attack to bounce? I think it does.
It does. It
Yeah.
does. It actually does it in damage calculation, so it not only has to attack, it has to connect.
100%. Okay. I was like, is it if it battles? No, it's only if it attacks. So there we see the effect of Mace coming down, going to be replacing the Anguish, and then we have the field spell effect,
Yes.
and we're going to be chaining Akihiro onto that to summon as well. The field spell's going to get Goblin. There, look at all those names.
All level 9 or higher Mementos can attack directly this turn.
I mean, if you want to make a classic Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess, you certainly could, but Forbidden Limitless probably says otherwise. Haha.
I mean, Abasai making a big meal out of saying that his level 9 or higher Mementos can attack directly. He might be trying to go for game this turn. If he can get a Combined Creation in play plus a Creation King, that's more than enough damage.
No, there's certainly plenty of time left on the clock. If he's able to end his battle phase with victory this turn, then they'll still have about 3 minutes to side deck and still about 3 or 4 minutes to duel, so it's actually a good gambit to keep on pushing through this game.
Plus, if they have any time extensions that we don't know about, who knows?
That's fair. We did have some procedural reminders and stuff, so there actually may be some time extensions too.
So there we see the Gaddock. We're going to be adding back from Graveyard specifically the Anguish, which we can do. Droll does not stop that.
I love those cards that have like an either-or effect, almost with Droll and Lockbird in mind.
But how are we going to fusion summon Creation King from this position? Well, we're going to go for Cross Sheep, so I think
we're definitely
we have a way.
fusing.
It's actually worth noting that he doesn't need to fusion summon right now because he's already pointing to a fusion monster.
Oh, that's true.
So all
You're
he has to do
right.
is summon, and then Cross Sheep will summon another monster. So he's going to combine Creation, I imagine summon to a zone that Cross Sheep points to, and then get another summon of a monster.
Great resource management. That's exactly what he's doing here. Is he puts those 5 Memento monsters back into the deck.
And that could get us our Sleepy if we have it still in the graveyard, or not. Cross Sheep does not need to summon to a zone it points to, right? It just needs to have a monster summon to a zone it points to?
I think so.
Okay, so I guess he just chose not to do that.
Well, you have Cross Sheep on field?
No,
Okay.
Yes, Tatsuno Toshiko, I believe, can only have Memento monsters in play.
That is correct. And Cross Sheep, he's a friend of Memento, but he is not a Memento itself.
Oh, we had another fusion in hand. Okay, that's how we're going to fusion summon.
Oh,
and
also
we had
Sleepy.
Sleepy.
Just fuse,
We
fuse,
had it
fuse.
all.
As you know, this deck, you can get almost lost in it because it is such a different, like, choose your own adventure. Speaking of adventures, here's Abao Aku. We haven't seen it in a while.
Yep, one of the main cards from Supreme Darkness, Abu Aku, the Lightless Shadow.
And there's the Fiend, the Memento Goblin.
Yep. And then he used the link to Cross Sheep to summon it. Very impressive.
Fusion, sending this, and shuffling these two.
Yep, so we're using Fusion, sending that, shuffling those two to get us our Creation King. And I believe that should be enough damage to go for game here.
That one, I'll have it.
We don't have Creation King in the grave because we banished both of ours.
Oh, wow.
So
I
we
do,
ha-
but I have to use 2, not 3.
Yes, so Memento Twin Dragon only requires 2 Memento monitors, where Creation King requires 3. He sent too many materials.
So we might see sort of a different path than we were expecting here. We're
Okay,
gonna
so we
send
just
this towards
revealed
the
that.
grave.
We're just reversing before he fusion summons, that way
I
he could do it
see.
all in one go versus just try to fix it in the moment.
Now, you're right that Abasai might be feeling a little nerves here. It's difficult to be up on the featured match stage. Not everybody gels with it the same way. He's doing a great job holding out in the duel, but maybe he just needs to take a little breather here to get back in the game.
I mean, like we said time and time again, Memento is one of the most complicated decks in this format because there are just so many diversing lines of play, diversing cards. Like, your resources go to the banish, to the extra deck, to the graveyard, back to the deck, all over the place. It can be hard to keep track of it all.
It is a very non-linear deck for sure. There's some decks where they have like one great combo and that just rockets them to the top tables, but Memento is more about understanding the entirety of the deck and then employing all those different paths whenever the moment is right.
Yeah, and you can totally tell that Abasai was trying to go for a going for game line here.